I'm Luke Timmerman, biotech journalist, founder of the Timmerman Report and a contributor to Forbes here at the Bio CEO and Investor Forum in New York. Here with me is Jonathan Leff. He's a partner with Deerfield Management, longtime investor in the biotech sector. Spoke here today about FDA issues, the agency that's the key gatekeeper to all innovations in biotech. Thanks for being with us, Jonathan.
Thank you.
So first off, I wanted to ask, the news of the last week has been about Peggy Hamburg. The commissioner of the agency just left, is announcing her resignation after 6 years. What kind of legacy does she leave behind?
Well, personally, I was very sorry to see the news that Dr. Hamburg will be leaving FDA. She's been a tremendous leader. 6 years, after 6 years, one of the longest-standing FDA commissioners in a very long time. So she's put in her time, and I think leaves a legacy of a better functioning agency on many levels than what she found when she started 6 years ago. So I give Dr. Hamburg enormous credit for her leadership and for her tenure, and in particular, the one area that I know was important to her, that she was passionate about, and where things really have gotten better is in the whole area of innovative drug development. And when you look in particular at the drugs that have the potential to make the biggest impact on patient care, the breakthrough therapies, for example, one can really see the degree to which the FDA of today, as compared to the FDA of, say, 5 years ago, is working with sponsors, working collaboratively and interactively to think outside the box and design the most efficient and sometimes novel drug development pathways to get those therapies out there faster. I give Dr. Hamburg, as well as other leaders at FDA, an enormous amount of credit, and I think that's an important part of her legacy.
What do you think is the best piece of advice you could give to her successor?
Wow, well, that's a great question. I think that it will be important to educate any new commissioner of FDA, certainly depending on his or her background, about the importance that FDA plays and that the regulatory process plays in the degree to which investment capital flows into biotech and in new drug development. I think a lot of people come into a position like that and may not initially understand how important the role of FDA is at gatekeeper, and how decisions and policies and directions that FDA may take will impact the flow of capital in or out of biotech. What we're seeing now, as I think everybody knows, is a great bull market in biotech and capital flowing back into both the public and private markets for innovative biotech drug discovery and development that wasn't there a few years ago. There are many factors behind that, but absolutely one of those key factors is FDA, and is a more collaborative environment at FDA that's more receptive to innovation. So I think the message to a new FDA commissioner would be to focus on that, pay attention to the importance of that, and work collaboratively with a community that really does want to work with FDA to continue to make that work better.
Now, last question. The FDA is traditionally seen as an adversary of the industry. You're saying a lot of nice things about the way the agency has worked with the companies in collaboration the last few years. Is there any particular area that you still think needs to be fixed?
Well, first of all, I think it's a huge mistake to see FDA as an adversary. I mean, FDA has a role to play, which is to ensure the safety and efficacy of drugs and advance the public health. And sometimes industry gets frustrated with that. Well, that's inevitable in dealing with a regulator. But I also think there's a recognition that there's so much heavy lifting to do, and it takes so long, and is so risky and expensive to develop drugs, that FDA and industry and patients need to work together to figure out how to do that and how to make that work better. So that to me is the most important thing. In terms of areas where it's still not working as well, I mentioned a moment ago the breakthrough therapies, where we've seen creative out-of-the-box thinking and FDA leadership getting involved in enhancing communication with sponsors. I think we need to see that feedback loop created, where that filters out into all the drug development programs, whether they get breakthrough designation or not, that we see FDA across the board continuing to focus on more effective, more collaborative communication and speedier development. I do believe that the progress we've seen on the drug side at FDA is not yet as apparent on the medical device side and in terms of molecular diagnostics. So a major focus area for the next commissioner, I think, is going to need to be to make sure that the progress in molecular diagnostics and devices gets up to the same level as well.
And don't mess up some of the progress that's occurred on the drug side.
Absolutely. Well, and there's a lot more progress that we need. So don't mess it up and keep that going in the right direction.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
Thank you, Luke.